Okay, welcome back. So we're talking about how you can use the cut command. Cool. The next thing we're going to talk about is these two really cool things where you chain two commands together. So if I said command 1 and then a double and sign, right? So like that. Command 2. What that means is do the first one, and if it succeeds, do the second one. But if it doesn't succeed, don't do the second one. This is why those dang exit codes are so important, because if you don't use an exit code in the commands that you write, I'm assuming that the people who wrote command 1 actually followed the rules. But on the ones that you write, if you don't do this, this is never going to work, because the machine will not be able to tell whether the program actually ended correctly or not. So that one is pretty cool. Now let me give you a crazy example of where this is in use. Okay, here is an actual command that is being used by the system every time it's a cron job. Here's what it does, and this is going to look really familiar. It's going to be apt get update, and then they do this, apt get upgrade. Okay, and what that means, of course, is do the update. If the update fails, well, there's no need to go out there and try to do an upgrade, because something's wrong. Cool? So that's what that means, and that's actually being used inside a cron job in our Ubuntu. Okay, let's do another one. I want to go in here and okay, I'm going to make a file called kumquat. All right, I think, yeah, I got one. There's a file called kumquat. So if I was to say make dir kumquat, is that going to create an error? Well, yeah, because there's already a file by that name. So this should say, man, we can't do that. All right, so let's say I wanted to do make dir kumquat cd kumquat, right? Like that. So if it succeeds, go into that directory. If it does not succeed, well, don't try to go into the directory. Otherwise, I'll get 2 error messages, right? Cool. Now, sometimes you can flip this around. One of the ways is if there's in addition to the and thing, there's a style character. And this one is if the first one fails, do the second one. See how the and is the first one succeeds, do the second one. The style, which we're getting ready to show. If that one is, so for example, only if it fails. All right, so if I did cd into kumquat, that's going to fail, right? Wouldn't you think? So if that fails, I use style, that's the thing right above the equal, enters the key, style. Then I could say echo, I don't know, something went wrong. What would you like to say? Could not change directory. And then just for good measure, I'm going to go ahead and remember how you can combine something from the standard out. And this is kind of remember this guy where I can do a 2 like that? Sorry, I'm having trouble getting my keyboard squared away. So that means cd into, but if it fails, then run could not change directory and send it to both the standard out and the standard error at the same time. Yay, cool. So this is like a way of adding your own like cool little error messages. So everybody understands the and it's called and or. And is the ampersand twice, and or is the style character or whatever that thing is called. Okay, so inside a shell script, I'm on page 192. They talk about how to talk to a variable. So if I create a variable. By the way, I don't have to have a script. I can just start typing. I could say, I don't know, kumquat is equal to 12. The machine says, okay. So I just created a variable called kumquat, and I set its value is equal to 12. And then I could turn right around and say, echo $kumquat, and it should come back and say 12. Cool. cool. Now, there's some places where, like if I want to change like to show like $sign or something, right? I want to say like $12. So what happens if I said, and I'm gonna have to escape that, right? I'm gonna put a space. Let me put a space in, and then kumquat like this. And so right now I want to take the space out. Okay. Huh, I was not expecting that to work. I guess I'll come up with a better answer. Okay, let's come up with a better answer, a better suggestion. So kumquat, I don't know, kumquat apostrophe S, I don't know, whatever. Okay, here's my my point. Doggone it, this is a stupid example. I hate stupid examples. Okay. Anyway, I just want to put an S on the end, okay? Instead of having kumquat, I want to have 12S, whatever. And it's going to come back and say, I don't have a variable called kumquat S. So whenever you want to tack something at the beginning or the end of a variable, okay, you're kind of sort of changing the variable, because there is no variable called kumquats. There's only one called kumquat. So how do you tell the machine, no, here's where the variable name stops, and here's where the text begins. Now, you only have to do that when they're touching. If you're separated by white space, you don't have to do that. So here's how it's done. Okay, so the way you do it is you use curly braces around the actual variable name. Okay? Now it says, oh, I know what you're talking about. That's the variable, and the S is not meant to be that. The S is meant to be something that you display on the screen. Okay, so there's two ways you can display. I mean, you could, if you wanted, use the curly brace every single time. I mean, you could. There's no harm. It's extra typing, but, there's no harm in doing it. Cool beans? So, the use case when to use the curly brace and when to not is whenever things are touching. If I have text that's touching the variable and the machine gets confused on what is the variable and what is text, you basically have to use the curly braces. Cool. Okay, do you guys remember the thing about this double quotes and single quotes? Okay, let's just try this one more time. Let's see if you guys remember. I'm going to do kumquat S whatever. Okay? Right? No big deal. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to do that with single quotes to see which one is stronger. Which one has the basically suppresses. Ooh, so it definitely looks like the double quotes don't really suppress anything. All the double quotes do is allow you to, hey, so, okay, back up. Well, if it worked without the double quotes, why would I want to put double quotes in there? What's the point? If they come out the same as the line above without any quotes at all, okay. Here's one of the reasons why you might want to use double quotes, because I can put spaces in there. Remember that? Okay, good. Now, when should I use single quotes? Well, single quotes means, cut the bull. Just tell me exactly what you're typing on the key. Don't process anything. Don't expand any variables. Don't do any file name expansion. Don't do anything. Just echo back out exactly what was put in. Okay. So there is a difference between, using the single quote. Single quote's too strong in this case, right? All right. By the way, to make this thing compatible with the Bourne shell or dash, well, not exactly dash, but okay. To make this thing more compatible, when you're setting variables, I don't say kumquat space equals 14. Okay. See, like, right? So there's no spaces here. Cool. That's how it kind of knows between that something is a command versus something is not a command. Is it a variable or is it a command I'm supposed to type? Okay. Cool beans. Kind of sort of important to do that. Okay, continuing. So remember how we talked about command redirecting a command? Okay, so let's do this in. Okay, so hang on. Here's what I want to do. I want to find out how many. I don't know. How many lines are in etc. password? Okay, remember that? So if I did word count minus L, and then etc. password, right? It should come back and say, okay, cool. What was the thing? I'm gonna have to go to the man command. How do I tell it just to give me the dang number, but without the letter next to it? Anybody remember how to do that? No, I certainly don't. So let's go man WC and figure out how to tell it to shut up. So print lines. Okay. All right, forget that. Instead of doing it this way, I'm going to do it slightly different. I'm going to do. Let's just do a redirection. Okay, like that. I'm redirecting the standard input into that guy. So now that way I only get just the number. Okay, now if I want to put that inside a line inside my shell script, for example, let's pretend that I have something that says, I don't know, num users. That's a very good thing, right? Equals like this. Now, can I just type WC minus L, etc. password? Is that gonna, like, what happened? How come that didn't work? Well, I'm gonna have to use that command redirection thing. The command substitution thing? That guy? And now there's something called num users. Oh, oh, I forgot to mention, although I've been doing it all this time, whenever you want to set a variable, you just point it to the word. But to get the value of the variable back, you have to use a $sign. And we've been doing that all along. I just haven't been talking about it. All right, the $sign tells me how many there are. Wow, there are none. I was not expecting that. Huh, that's weird. Okay, moving on. Even though I screwed up, that's not really the point. The point is, sometimes you use command redirection. I remember there's two ways you could do that with the $sign. And the parentheses, or the other ones is a little backward single quote, guys. Okay, so yes, you often use that in programming to make things work. Okay, so let's talk about some of the filters that are often used inside scripting. So cut, we just did that one, cut. Sort, yeah, we did that one. Unique, so what's unique about unique? Yeah, it has to be sorted. Word count, that's the one we use a lot. Tail, remember tail? Head is the opposite of tail, remember? So like if I want the first 10 lines or the last 10 lines. And then grep, of course, if I just want to do some pattern matching on something. Those are kind of sort of the commands you'd expect to find inside a shell script. Okay. So now we're really back to scripting on page 198. So there is some merit to just keeping things down to the POSIX compatible Bourne shell to make it compatible with everything. So when we compose our shell script, I'm going to tell it to use the bare bones Bourne shell every single time, just out of convention and the fact that it's more compatible. I want to be able to go to the internet and find a shell script, copying it, paste it, and have it work. I don't want to have to deal with differences. So everyone just follow the rule and everybody be okay. Okay, we're coming up on the 15-minute mark, so you know what's going to happen.